So we have been getting drip-fed announcements and leaks for months now. So little new news to talk about at any one time that I didn't see a point in covering it till there was enough to go over. And I think there is finally enough where I can jabber for more than just 1 or 2 minutes. So let's look at some Rise of the Beasts stuff. Before starting though, am I the only one who sees the acronym RotB and immediately thinks Revenge of the Ballin'? Let's start out with the first thing that got leaked so long ago that it gave me hope Rise of the Beasts could have a really cool aesthetic before that was dashed. Rise of the Beasts Air Razor, which is apparently getting its own toy line as well as a Studio Series one. And, well, we'll get to that. Air Razor here looks really cool and interesting. It doesn't look like she did in the show, but I can instantly recognize who this is supposed to be. I just looked at this mode and hoped that it could be both the character that I love and something new. And I really appreciate how the Beast mode disappears into her, leaving her with only very minimal amounts of kibble. Usually figures with wings have tons of this stuff, but not here. I absolutely love what I'm seeing. Though it doesn't have an ankle pivot, it does have toe up however, so at least we aren't getting shortchanged on the feet. And then the Beast mode is fantastic. It's definitely going for a Cybertronian bird rather than a real one, and that left me confused even up till now, as why do they have the Beast modes at all? It's not a disguise, and it's not a defensive pretender shell used to protect them from the atmosphere of the planet they're on like from the show, so why have it? Yes, I know it wasn't actually the atmosphere that was the problem in Beast Wars. I'm avoiding giving unnecessary spoilers. Every time I try to be vague, someone complains to me that I'm giving out bad information. Precisely, that's the point. Anyways, I just love that this got an absolutely giant set of wings despite them completely disappearing into the robot mode. And it was an absolutely inspired idea for them to make them out of the legs. This results in a far cooler looking bird mode than the Kingdom version without all the kibble. I'm gonna be honest, I never really got the hype for the Kingdom figure. It's a good enough toy and it poses great, really captures the spirit of the character when in the right stance, but it doesn't even belong in the top 20 figures from that year's list, and it's not even sniffing the best of the line. It's good, but I find myself liking it less and less with time. It's the wrong color, the head is a good bit incorrect, it's got tons of kibble, the build is wrong, the transformation is really bad, just not even remotely fun, and the alt mode makes the robot mode kibble look cute by comparison. And that's really unfortunate to say because while the Rise of the Beast figure has none of those problems, the Studio Series figure is just a bad retool of the Kingdom one. It's literally the exact same thing, just resculpted to hell to be an ugly Bay design. It's got a little more flair than that would typically mean, but I mean, look at the face. Taken on its own, would you ever guess that this is supposed to be Air Razor? Personally, I guess that it's an old man, like a curmudgeonly cup type. Gotta love that they actually tooled away part of the transformation with the pauldrons now just being parts of the shoulders. It's not like it wasn't already too simple. This just lacks the fun character of the other figure, and you know that this is actually what the character's robot mode is going to look like in the movie. And then you got the alt mode, and this is just a Kingdom Air Razor, but more like a turkey or vulture, so just uglier. Then there's Battle Trap, and I keep saying that this should have been called Road Trap, which people keep complaining at me that no one cares who Battle Trap or Road Trap are. So Hasbro protecting the copyright like this is fine. Except, couldn't you say the same of Road Trap? Like, wouldn't that protect his copyright and be fine too? Plus, it makes more sense, since Road Trap is a big truck, whereas Battle Trap is a duocon made out of a helicopter and a truck. And wouldn't that leave the movie open to him combining with Battle Slash to form Battle Trap? Like, wouldn't that be super fucking cool? I don't understand the crowd of people who absolutely hate consistency being applied to the Transformers names. They crow and crow about stuff like Knockout or Bulkhead. And yes, those relatively new characters are cool. And yes, they took someone else's name. But at the same time, it's not like the name was required. Bulkhead could have been called Smash Through, and Knockout could have been called Sleek Lines, and the characters would have been exactly as enjoyable as they are. If we're getting new characters, then give us new characters. Why use the name if it literally doesn't matter? I'm kind of concerned that the people who are always happy about stuff like this aren't happy in good faith. They're happy that something is getting taken away from G1ers. And I understand, G1ers suck. They make everyone else miserable for not being into only what they're into. But being an antimatter G1er is just as bad as being a G1er when you're laughing at normal non-asshole people losing out on what they want to see because it also hurts G1ers. Anyways, that's rant, number 4 out of 3 figures I've looked at and 2 total characters? Despite my reservations with the name, this looks pretty cool. Face is lame, it's just a mush of parts that don't really look like anything. It's not a battle mask, which would have been cool, he just doesn't have a lower face. But I'm happy to see a bad bot getting some color for once. Bright orange really does help this thing feel more alive, and I love seeing a villain get a relatively normal alt mode. Based on what I'm seeing here, I'd say that this is going to have the Titan's Return cup transformation in its legs, but a lot new in the torso. The chest grill is 100% fake, however, as there's no split in the truck mode, and it's missing those little tusks on the bottom. And then there's Nightbird, and that sucks. Yeah, wow, that sucks. That is an absurd amount of kibble the figure is dealing with. Why does this have the biggest dick of any Transformers figure ever? It's longer than her thighs, which admittedly are way too short, and Jesus, those are some ugly legs. They're so structural and flimsy looking. That is a fucking hell of a backpack too. And then the alt mode is kinda cool until you realize that the hood of the car is climbing up into the windshield. There had to be a better way to do this than that. Then you got Wheeljack, and with this, I've basically given up any hope that the movie will be good. And you may say that that's extremely drastic. I mean, what kind of asshole would I have to be to not like a movie just because I don't like the way a character in it looks? But that's not my problem. My problem is that this is convincing me of something I theorized almost 2 years ago now. I don't think they hired Stephen Caple Jr. because he made a good movie with Creed. I think they hired him because he only ever made one movie before, so he'd be easy for the producers to control. Looking at this, the designs are going back to old bad Bay staples. You want the character you love to be in the movie? Fuck you! We're making a completely new character and giving him the name of the beloved one, thus ensuring that the person you wanted to see be in a movie ever since you were literally 4 will never happen. And we're going to make them an ugly, fish-lipped weirdo just because we hate you for loving this crap. And as a result, I fully expect directed by Stephen Caple Jr. to actually be code for directed by executive producers Michael Bay and Lorenzo de Bonaventura. I hope I'm wrong, I really do, but the movie has been in production hell for years at this point, so signs are leading to it being a disaster in the making behind the scenes that they are desperately trying to salvage. And I'm seeing the fingerprints of old problems on it with this design. Anyways, this is ugly, I hate it, it's not the character that I've been desperate to see for like a decade and a half now since the first movie, considering that Wheeljack is one of my all-time favorites. And what is with this movie? Why are all the figures in it either brown or very close to it? For the last Rise of Beasts figure, we got the Studio Series 100 Bumblebee, and this looks like shit. Really, this is what you're using for your 100th release in the line. It looks like an upscaled Legends figure from 6 years ago that didn't get any more paint, just a new head. Like, am I crazy? This looks like literally every other version of movie Bumblebee ever released. Then you got Medics. I have no idea who this is. Apparently there's some Rescue Bots character who looks absolutely nothing like this. Okay, but why though? Why not make them even remotely like they're supposed to be? I have no idea who this character is, and I'm offended that they're shafting him like this. Then you can finally stop asking me. Yes, I backed Deathsaurus. Mainly to get you guys to stop asking. It's way too expensive, and I'm not exactly hopeful. Like, please tell me he's not pulling a Star Saber and you can actually get his arms further away from his torso than this. But it looks decent, I suppose, and if I do end up hating it, I'm sure at least someone would be willing to match what I paid for this to take it off my hands, so at least I won't be losing out on the money. If you're confused by this, I like IDW Deathsaurus, and this is not that guy. Plus, it's like $200 for a Chug figure, and I don't care if it's bigger than a Commander, it's way smaller than a Titan, which this is also more expensive than most of those. I mean, I'm not happy to pay $200 for most Masterpiece figures. A Chug figure for $200 seems like a recipe for disaster. Lastly, for the figures, we got Skyquake, and I actually love what I'm seeing here. This is more accurate to the Prime design than I was expecting, but I also love how it's blending that and his G2 design. Most of the G1ified figures are just kind of trying to be G1 in a vague sense. This is the first guy with a real G1 design to combine with his Prime one, and I think the result is pretty cool looking. It's mostly just the Prime body, slightly more square, but with a cool new head more like the G2 version, which really appeals to me, because while I didn't have the original Skyquake, I did have the Machine Wars Starscream growing up. And honestly, this would look a lot like Prime Skyquake if they painted the face yellow rather than silver, which both the G2 figure and the Prime version had, so I don't know why they're changing the color of the face. And the alt mode is yet another instance where they've done an awesome job mixing the two designs. The body of the plane really looks like the Prime design, but the engine pods on the wings look like the G2 version, and the silhouette is reminiscent of that older figure. Plus, this is going to be nice and big, so I'm really feeling this one. Though no opening hands? I thought that was the sign of a truly good figure, Hasbro. And before we get into the leaked listings, I just had something I want to say about Transformers reactivation. Why does anyone give a shit right now? Everyone is acting like, after so long, we're finally getting a good Transformers game. Bitch, we don't know that. There's a cinematic trailer with no gameplay whatsoever in it that doesn't even hint at what type of game it's going to be. Based on being about reactivating dead Cybertronians, as far as we can tell from the title, it could be a gacha game for all we know. It could be a tactics RPG or an isometric platformer. We have literally no idea what it's going to be, or even if it's going to finish development at all. The game could have barely entered production a week ago and be years from releasing, and if Hasbro keeps crashing and burning like they currently are, they could fail as a company before the game ever finishes. At which point, who's going to pay for it to be released? I know I'm being a serious downer and all, but there's nothing to go off of yet. What's there to be excited for, except for the concept that maybe something might possibly be good, and might possibly be a AAA game, but might also not, being a cheap cash grab instead? There's nothing worth getting your hopes up over yet. So now for the leaked listings, they're doing a second release of the Legacy Tarantulas. That has been a hard figure for many to find, so here's hoping it gives you all more of an opportunity to pick that great thing up. A Legacy Shadow Striker, that could be really cool. I barely know the character because, dear God, can I just not get through Season 1 of Cyberverse. I hear it gets really good after that, but the first season is abusively bad. Still, the character seemed cool. New strong arm. That sucks. She was the worst part of RID 2015. She was a complete piece of shit who would never shut the fuck up about everyone else following the rules, but would bend them to the point of snapping at any time they'd apply to her. Fuck that character. Chunky 3, I would assume is Scrap Hook, but maybe not. Bombshell. We knew this was coming, but it's still sick to see. Hell yes, new Beachcomber. After getting back into the Transformers, the POTP version was one of the first figures I ever truly had trouble hunting down, visiting so many stores to find one. Ultimately, I wound up picking it up on Black Friday when I showed up to work and it was in a weird location in the store. I'm oddly excited to go through that again. Detritus. I'm assuming that this is going to be a retool of someone. Huh. When I originally read this, my brain just filled in Legacy with Studio Series. Legacy DevCon. I was going to congratulate the movie fans on finally getting the thing from like 5 total seconds combined from all the movies that they for some reason really want. I know that sounds sarcastic, but no, I was genuinely happy for them, even if I was really confused as to why they were so hellbent on getting it in the first place. It was at least an interesting design, I suppose, but now this is just weird. Give the people the DevCon they want already, Hasbro. I won't fucking buy it, but they deserve it. Robo Wild Rider. What the fuck is that? My best guess is that it's a GoBots recolor of the shit-ass Wild Rider. Core Thundercracker. I'm assuming that this is just going to be a repaint of the Kingdom Starscream. Oh god, they're doing a package refresh of the ER Dirge. That mold sucks so bad. I really wish I wanted this because I actually like Dirge. Okay, so we have Scraphook just listed by name later in the list, so the other Junkion must be something else who's not Detritus or Wreck-Gar or Junkheap. Okay? Alright, so we're getting Frenzy. I'm assuming that the package is going to say Red 1. Core Ironhide and Voyager Ratchet. Totally expected this with the Core Ratchet and Voyager Ironhide that we already got. And then a Deluxe Rufus. Can't wait for that. Then we got a bunch of capsules. I have no idea what these will be. What? How can we have a package refresh for Capsule 5 when Capsules 1 through 4 aren't out yet? And then we got Leader Capsules. What is this? Anyways, that video was more a rant about stuff currently annoying me than it was me looking forward to the figures. I hope you find it entertaining at least. There are a few things in here that I do think are really cool, like the non-Studio Series Air Razor, the Battle Trap, and the Skyquake. But I'm going to be honest, most of the stuff we have pictures for I view with apathy. The leaked listings seem really cool though, and maybe I'm not going to be too disappointed with the Deathsaurus. I just hope that I didn't bum anyone out too much with this. And as always, it's fine if you're really looking forward to these things even when I'm not, and are sure that they're going to be good. I'm a negative Nancy, I know that. Nothing is wrong with you for liking stuff that I don't, or hating stuff that I love. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please, share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.